Welcome to the 1000 Nights and 1 Night. Now, when it was the 310th night, she said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Ali Shar, feeling his stomach ache with hunger, betook himself to the merchant's bazaar, where he found a crowd of people assembled in a ring, and said to himself, I wonder what causeth these folk to crowd together thus. By Allah, I will not judge, and I will not budge, hence then I will see what is in yonder ring." So he made his way into the ring, and found therein a damsel exposed for sale, who was 5 feet tall, beautifully proportioned, rosy of cheek, and high of breast, and who surpassed all the people of her time in beauty and loveliness, and elegance and grace, even as saith one describing her. As she willed she was made, and in such a way that when she was cast in nature's mould, neither short nor long was she. Beauty woke and fall to love with the beauties of her form, were combined with all her coyness, her pride, and pudency. The full moon is her face, and the branchlet is her shape, and the musk pod is her scent. What like her can there be? 'Tis as though she were moulded from water of the pearl, and in every lovely limblet another moon we see. Her name was Zummurrud, the Smagadine. So when Ali Shah saw her, he marvelled at her beauty and grace, and said, By Allah, I will not stir hence till I see how much this girl fetcheth, and know who buyeth her. So he took standing place amongst the merchants, and they thought he had a mind to buy her, knowing the wealth he had inherited from his parents. Then the broker stood at the damsel's head and said, Ho, merchants, ho, ye men of money! Who will open the gate of biddings for this damsel, the mistress of moons, the union pearl, Zummurrud, the curtain maker, the sought of the seeker, and the delight of the desirous? Opening the biddings door, and on the opener be nor blame nor reproach for evermore. Thereupon quoth one merchant, Mine, for 500 dinars, and 10, quoth one merchant, Mine for 500 dinars. 600, cried an old man, named Rashid al-Din, blue of eye and foul of face. And 10, cried another. I bid 1,000, rejoined Rashid al-Din, whereupon the rival merchants were tongue-tied, and held their peace, and the broker took counsel with the girl's owner, who said, I have sworn not to sell her save to someone who shall choose, so consult her. Thereupon the broker went to Zummurrud, and said to her, O mistress of moons, this merchant hath a mind to buy thee. She looked at Rashid al-Din, and finding him as we have said, replied, I will but not sold to a greybeard, who decrepit hath brought to such an evil plight. Allah inspired his saying, who saith, I craved of her a kiss one day, but soon as she beheld my hoary hairs, thought I my luxuries and wealth displayed. She proudly turned away from me, showed shoulders, cried aloud, No, 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 by him who hath mankind from nothingness hath made. For hoary head and grizzled chin, I've no especial love. What stuff my mouth in cotton ere in sepulchre I'm laid. Now, when the broker heard her words, he said, By Allah, thou art excusable, and thy price, is 10,000 gold pieces. So he told her owner that she would not accept of an old man, Rashid al-Din. And he said, Consult her concerning another. Thereupon a second man came forward and said, Be she mine for what price was offered by the oldster, she would have none of. But she looked at him, and seeing that his beard was dyed, said, What be this fashion lewd and base, and the blackening of the hoary face? And she made a great show of wonderment, and repeated these couplets. Showed me, sir, such an one a sight of that frightful sight, a neck by Allah only made for slipper sole to smite, a beard, the meetest racing ground where gnats and lice contend, a brow fit only for the ropes thy temples chafe and bite. Oh, thou enravest by my cheek and beauties of my form, why so translate thyself to youth, and think I deem it right? Dyeing disgracefully that white of revered aged hairs, and hiding for foul purposes their venerable white. thou goest with one beard, and comest back with quite another, like Punch and Judy man who worked the Chinese shades by night. And how well saith another, quoth she, I see thee dye thy hoariness, to hide, O ears and eyes, from thee, quoth I. She roared with laugh, and said, right funny this, thou art so lying e'en thy hair's a lie. Now, when the broker heard verse, he exclaimed, by Allah, thou hast spoken sooth. The merchant asked what she said. So the broker repeated the verses to him, and he knew that she was in the right, while he was in the wrong. And he desisted from buying her. Then another came forward and asked, ask her if she will be mine at the same price. But when he did so, she looked at him, and seeing that he had but one eye, said, this man is one-eyed, and it is of such as he that the poet saith, consort not with the Cyclops e'en a day, beware his falsehood and his mischief fly. Had his monocular a jot of good, Allah had name brought blindness to his eye. Then said the broker, pointing to another bidder, wilt thou be sold to this man? She looked at him, and seeing that he was short of stature, and had a beard that reached to his navel, cried, this is he whom the poet saith, I have a friend who hath a beard. Allah to useless length unrolled, 'tis like a certain winter night, longsome and darksome, drear and gold. Said the broker, O my lady, look who pleaseth thee of these that are present, and point him out that I may sell thee to him. So she looked around the ring of merchants, examining one by one their physiognomies, till her glance fell on Ali Shar, and Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. And when it was the 311th night, she said, it hath reached me, O auspicious king, that when the girl's glance fell on Ali Shar, she cast at him a look with longing eyes, which cost her 1,000 sighs, and her heart was taken with him, for he had favor passing fair, and pleasanter than zephyr or northern air. And she said, O broker, I will be sold to none, but to this my lord, owner of the handsome face and slender form, whom the poet thus describeth. Displaying that fair face, the tempted they assailed, who had they wished me safe, that lovely face had veiled. For none shall own me but he, because his cheek is smooth, and the water of his mouth sweet as salisbury. His spittle is a cure for the sick, and his charms daze and dazzle poet and proser, even as saith one of him. His honey-dew of lips is wine, his breath musk, and those teeth smiles shown are camphor's hue. Rizwan hath turned him out o'er doors for fear. The hours lapse from virtue at the view. Men blame his bearing for its pride, but when in pride the full moon sails, excuse is due. Lord of the curling locks and rose-red cheeks, and a ravishing look, of whom saith the poet, the fawn-like one a meeting promised me, and I expedient waxed, and heart unstirred. His eyelids bade me told his word as true, but in their languish can he keep his word? And as saith another, quoth they, black letters on his cheek are writ. How canst thou love him, and a side-beard see? Quoth I, cease blame, and cut your chiding short. If those be letters, 'tis a forgery. Gather his charms, all gross of Eden Garth, whereto those Kassar lips bear testimony. Now when the broker heard the verses she repeated on the charms of Ali Shar, he marveled at her eloquence, no less than at the brightness of her beauty. But her owner said to him, marvel not at her splendor, which shameth the noonday sun, nor that her memory is stored with the choicest verse of the poets, for besides this, she can repeat the glorious. excepting to the 7 readings, and the august traditions after ascription and authentic transmission. And she writeth the 7 modes of handwriting, and she knoweth more learning and knowledge than the most learned. Moreover, her hands are better than gold and silver, for she maketh silken curtains, and selleth them for 50 gold pieces each, and it taketh her but 8 days to make a curtain. Exclaimed the broker, O happy the man who hath her in his house, and maketh her of his choicest treasures. And her owner said to him, Sell her to whom she will. So the broker went up to Ali Shar, and kissing his hand, said to him, O my lord, buy thou this damsel, for she hath made choice of thee. Then he set forth to him all her charms and accomplishments, and added, I give thee joy if thou buy her, for this be a gift from him who is no niggard of his giving. Whereupon Ali bowed his head groundwards a while, laughing at himself, and secretly saying, Up to this hour I have not broken my fast, yet I am ashamed before the merchants to own that I have no money wherewith to buy her. The damsel, seeing him hang down his head, said to the broker, Take my hand, and lead me to him, that I may show my beauty to him, and tempt him to buy me, for I will not be sold to any but him. So the broker took her hand, and stationed her before Ali Shar, saying, What is thy good pleasure, O my lord? But he made no answer, and the girl saith to him, O my lord, and darling of my heart, what aileth thee that thou wilt not bid for me? Buy me for what thou wilt, and I will bring thee good fortune. So he raised his eyes to her, and he said, Is buying perforce? Thou art dear at 1,000 dinars. She said, Then buy me, O my lord, for 900. He cried, No. And she rejoined, Then for 800. And though he again say nay, she ceased not to abate the price, till she came to 100 dinars. Quoth he, I have not by me 100. So she laughed and asked, How much dost thou lack of 100? He answered, By Allah, I have neither 100 dinars, nor any other sum, for I am neither white coin, nor red cash, neither dinar nor dirham. So she look out thou for another and a better customer. And when she knew that he had nothing, she said to him, Take me by the hand, and carry me aside into a by-lane, as if thou wouldst examine me privily. He did so, and she drew from her bosom a purse containing 1,000 dinars, which she gave him, saying, Pay down 900 to my price, and let the 100 remain with thee by way of provision. He did as she bid, and buying her for 900 dinars, paid down the price from her own purse, and carried her to his house. When she entered it, she found a dreary, desolate saloon without carpets or vessels. So she gave him other 1,000 dinars, saying, Go to the bazaar, and buy 300 dinars worth of furniture and vessels for the house, and 3 dinars worth of meat and drink. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased her permitted say. Now, when it was the 312th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that, quoth the slave girl, Bring us meat and drink for 3 dinars. Furthermore, a piece of silk the size of a curtain, and bring golden and silvern thread and sewing silk of 7 colors. Thus he did, and she furnished the house, and they sat down to eat and drink, after which she went to bed and took their pleasure one of the other. And they lay the next night embraced behind the curtain, even as the poet saith, Cleave fast to her thou lovest, and let the envious rail amain. For call me, and envy ne'er to favour love or fain. Lo, whilst I slept in dreams, I saw thee lying by my side, and from thy lips the sweetest shore of limpid springs did drain. Yea, true and certain all I saw is as I will avouch, and spite the envier thereto I surely will attain. There is no goodlier sight, indeed, for eyes to look upon, than when one couch in its embrace enfoldeth lovers twain, each to the other's bosom clasped, clad in their twined delight, whilst hand with hand, and arm with arm about their necks enchain. Lo, when 2 hearts are straitly knit in passion and desire, but on cold iron smite the folk who chidest them in vain. Thou that for loving censurest the votaries of love, canst thou assain a heart diseased, or heal a cantered brain? If in thy time thou find but one to love thee and be true, I rede thee cast the world away, and with that one remain. So they lay together till the morning, and love for the other waxed firmly fixed in the heart of each. And on the rising, Zummurrud took the curtain and embroidered it with coloured silks and purfled it with silver and gold thread, and she added thereto a border depicting round about it all manner of birds and beasts. Nor is there in the world a Pharaoh but she wrought his semblance. This she worked in 8 days till she had made an end of it, and when she trimmed it and glazed and ironed it, and gave it to her lord, saying, Carry it to the bazaar, and sell it to one of the merchants at 50 dinars. But beware, lest thou sell it to a passer-by, as this would cause a separation between me and thee, for we have foes who are not unthoughtful of us. I hear, and I obey, answered he, repairing to the bazaar, sold the curtain to a merchant as she bade him, after which he bought a piece of silk for another curtain with gold and silver and silken thread as before, and what they needed of food, and brought all this to her, giving her the rest of the money. Now every 8 nights she made a curtain, which she sold for 50 dinars, and on this wise passed a whole year. At the end of that time he went as usual to the bazaar, and a curtain which he gave to the broker, and there came up to a Nazarene, who bid him 60 dinars for it, but he refused, and the Christian continued bidding higher and higher till he came to 100 dinars, and bribed the broker with 10 ducats. So the man returned to Ali Shar and told him of the proffered price, and urged him to accept the offer and sell the article at the Nazarene's valuation, saying, O my lord, be not afraid of this Christian, for that he can do thee no hurt. The merchants also were urgent with him. So he sold the curtain to the Christian, albeit his heart misgave him, and taking the money set off to return home. Presently, as he walked, he found the Christian walking behind him. So he said to him, O Nazarene, why dost thou follow in my footsteps? Answered the other, O my lord, I wanted something at the end of the street. Allah never bring thee to want. But Ali Shar had barely reached his place before the Christian overtook him. So he said to him, O accursed, what aileth thee to follow me wherever I go? Replied the other, O my lord, give me a draught of water, for I am athirst, and with Allah be thy reward. Quoth Ali Shar to himself, Verily, this man is an infidel who payeth tribute and claimeth our protection, and he asketh me for a draught of water. By Allah, I will not balk him. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. Now, when it was the 313th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that quoth Ali Shar to himself, This man is a tributary unbeliever, and he asks me for a draught of water. By Allah, I will not balk him. So he entered the house and took a gugglet of water, but the slave girl Zummurrud saw him and said to him, O my love, hast thou sold the curtain? He replied, Yes. And she asked it to a merchant or a passer-by, for my heart presaged a parting. And he answered, To whom but to a merchant? Thereupon she rejoined, Tell me the truth of the case, that I may order my affair, and why take the gugglet of water? And he said, To give the broker to drink, upon which she exclaimed, There is no majesty, and there is no might, save in Allah, the glorious, the great. And she repeated these 2 couplets. O thou who seekest separation, act leisurely, and let not the embrace of the beloved deceive thee. Act leisurely, for the nature of fortune is treacherous, and the end of every union is disjunction. Then he took the gugglet, and going out, found the Christian within the vestibule, and said to him, How comest thou here, and how darest thou, O dog, enter my house without my leave? Answered he, O my lord, there is no difference between the door and the vestibule, and I never intended to stir hence, save it to go out. And my thanks are due to thee for thy kindness and favour, thy bounty and generosity. Then he took the mug, and emptying it, returned it to Ali Shar, who received it, and waited for him to rise up and to go. But he did not move. So Ali said to him, Why dost thou not rise and wend thy way? And he answered, O my lord, be not of those who do a kindness and then make it a reproach, nor of those to whom saith the poet, they're gone, who, when thou stoodest at their door, would for thy wants to generous cater, but stand at door of churls who followed them. They'd make high favour of a draught of water. And he continued, O my lord, I have drunk, and now I would have thee give me to eat of whatever is in the house, though it be but a bit of bread or biscuit with an onion. Replied Ali Shar, Begone, without more chaffer and chatter. There is nothing in the house. He persisted, O my lord, if there is nothing in the house, take these 100 dinars and bring us something from the market, if it but a single scone, that bread and salt may pass between us. With this, quoth Ali Shar to himself, this Christian is surely mad. I will take his 100 dinars and bring him somewhat worth a couple of dirhams, and laugh at him. And the Nazarene added, O my lord, I want but a small matter to save my hunger, were it but a dry scone and an onion, for the best food is that which doth away appetite, not rich viands. And how well saith the poet, Hunger is sated with a bone-dry scone. How is it, then, in woes of want to wone? Death is all justice, lacking aught regard for caliph, king, and beggar woebegone. Then replied Ali Shar, Wait here, while I lock the saloon and fetch thee somewhat from the market. And quoth the Christian, To hear is to obey. So Ali Shar shut up the saloon, and locking the door with a padlock, put the key in his pocket, after which he went to market, and brought fried cheese and virgin honey and bananas and bread, with which he returned to the house. Now, when the Christian saw the provisions, he said, O my lord, this is overmuch. 'Tis enough for half a scone of men, and I am alone. But belike thou wilt eat with me. Replied Allah, Eat by thyself, I am full. And the Christian rejoined, O my lord, the wise man, whoso eateth not with his guest, is a son of a whore. Now when Ali Shar heard these words from the Nazarene, he sat down and ate a little with him, after which he would have held his hand. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. And so do I cease my tale for the day, until it be morrow.